Okay, so today I just want to sit down and give y'all some updates. I think my last video, I was headed to the Levain Bakery and I bought some cookies because I told you all that I had just completed my third interview, and I just had the fourth round, which was basically they were going to get back to me with whether or not I was going to get the offer or not to work at this new job. And I got the offer and I accepted the offer yesterday, which was Monday. Today's Tuesday. And I start work at the end of the month. So that is exciting. They're currently sending me a laptop. So I will be getting a laptop to do work. The job is temporary, but there is a possibility for a full-time extension should I do well and there's a need and they like me. So that's really exciting because this opportunity is literally perfect for me. I get to help people who have problems with their product, and I get to assist them and make sure that they're taken care of, and then hopefully they give the company good scores. My goal moving to New York was working in tech, and I've always been really good with people, so working with customers just seemed like the right fit. And then hopefully, I am able to move up and go to different departments, and then maybe be like the chief branding officer, the chief marketing officer, just whatever, the VP of customer experience, whatever it takes. I just really love how tech is built to solve problems that we all experience. And I think it just is an incredible industry. Obviously, there are a lot of problems with funding and getting people of color funding and help and, support and betting on them. It's just constantly, I feel like there's a tug and pull, but I really just needed to get into a company, and I'm happy to say I'm in finally. So it's a temporary 3-month position. I had to go through 3 rounds of interviews to get the offer. And of course I said yes, but knowing that it's 3 months, there's breathing room, because I'm like, okay, no matter what, I'll be able to put this on my resume and I'll be good. From their perspective, the company just needs someone who can communicate well and be empathetic and obviously support the customer experience. But from my perspective, this was a great gig to get at this time in my life, and to put this on my resume is huge because I feel like it certifies my experience in being tech-ish. So that's nice. I am just gonna use the opportunity and run with it. I'm gonna take advantage of the opportunity, build the connections, and then move forward, wherever that leads me. I feel like I moved to New York and I was definitely on I'll do whatever I like kind of path. I tried to listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, and I was like, okay, I can always get a really horrible job, that just pays the bills, but it's really important that I pursue something that I love and that I'm actually interested in, because purpose is important to me. It really is. The money is nice, but you can do a job you hate and make a lot of money. But I think it's possible to make a lot of money and also do a job you love. You would do the job for free, you just happen to get paid really well for it because you're good at it. I think you can have both, but it does take time and sacrifice, and it might not be perfect. So that's what I'm doing right now, just trying to figure it out for myself, and I'm documenting my experience on YouTube because why not? If my story can help someone else, why not? I had a subscriber say that they enjoyed my stories and they found it inspirational. I will do a screenshot of the subscriber. Thank you so much for saying that. So my story is I basically moved to New York because I had nothing to lose. I was like, why not? Why not? I just celebrated my 2-year anniversary. I thought I wasn't even gonna last 1 year. I thought I wasn't even gonna last 1 year in New York, and I just celebrated finishing 2. So now I'm currently in year 3 now. This is the start of year 3 for me. And year 1, the beginning of year 1 in New York City, I moved to New York in July 2018. So year 1 was all about, to me, hitting the ground, just hitting the ground. Not really hitting the ground running, just hitting the ground as smooth as possible and making that transition. And for me, that was finding a job. I was really lucky to move to New York, and my best friends were here. My best friend who let me live with her, and she gave me this amazing grace period of like not needing to pay rent in order so that I could, you know, just get comfortable with living in this new city and finding a job and just helping with like utilities. So I basically was given the gift of a lifetime by not stressing out about rent. So the first 2 weeks in New York, I really just, it was vacation time. It was vacation mode. I spent like $500 in 1 week, which was not the smartest thing at all because my savings, I think I moved to New York with like less than $2,000 total, probably like $1,500 in my checking account. So to spend $500 in 1 week, it just wasn't the smartest move, obviously. But I was just so happy to be here, and I wanted to experience everything. And that was literally the beginning of like not having a budget, not really being good with money, and not really having a plan. So I learned a lot from that experience. But after my 2 weeks of like, you know, playing and having fun with friends, I was like, okay, it's time to like find a job. Like, let's just find a job. Let's get to work. So this is part of year 1, the beginning of year 1. And I was applying on Monster and like Indeed. And then I just was applying to different places, and whoever got back to me first and said that they wanted to continue and move to the next step was going to get my attention. And that happened to be a luxury retail store on 5th Avenue. They got back to me and I said yes, and I ended up working with them for about 13 months. At the time, I just said yes to the opportunity because they said yes first, right? And I probably, you know, was thinking I'll be there for 6 months, but it ended up being about a year that I was there. And I did the job part-time, and that was enough to sustain my lifestyle in New York, contribute to rent when my grace period was over. But I got a little comfortable. Like, I wasn't really trying to get out of the situation. I was just happy that I could work somewhere for 3 days a week, make about $300 a week from work. I made about $100 a day when I worked. So every three days, I would be making about $300, depending, but always around 300, depending on commission and whether or not I sold a lot of volume. If the volume was up, then I made a little bit more, like 10% per item. So I was making like $300 a week. I got paid every Friday, so I was living on $1,200 a month. And in New York City, you can really live on, you can live on $1,000 a month. It just depends if your rent is really good. So if your rent is $650 or $600, you know, you have $400 to play with, and you have to be really smart because you still have groceries, you still have transportation, you still have discretionary like funding. So I think I'll go deeper into kind of my budgeting the first year in New York, but I kind of just played it cool. Like, I didn't really go hard on like paying down debts that I had. I was just like, I'm making money, I'm spending money. And when I looked back on my bank statements, I was like, wow, all the money I made is like all the money I spent. Like, there was really no savings. So I would be making like $1,200 a month, but I would be spending like $1,000, or I'd be spending $1,100. Like, I just wasn't in control. And that's really important when you make money, because you could, like with savings and investing, like you need to kind of act like you're broke, but think like you're rich, right? You don't want to have a scarcity mindset, but you also need to be realistic, and you have to be like, okay, I need emergency savings fund. But I just wasn't thinking about these things. I was just like, look, I'm in New York now, I have a job finally, I'm making money, and it's enough for rent. But you know, there was no fire under me to kind of still, you know, search for something full time and get those benefits. I was applying like every month, a few times here and there, and I was getting rejected consistently. But it was about about 7 months into my part-time job, which was my first job in New York City. I met someone while I was at work who did catering. They worked for an elite catering business, like really good. And I was getting paid minimum wage at this luxury retail store, which is a global brand. Everyone knows who this company is. But then this person that I tried to assist was telling me about the job that they had and that they loved it and that it was good money just to kind of like make good money in New York. Like everyone always gets like, if you just moved to New York, you can easily get a job in like the food industry, and you can make a lot of good money being like a hostess, a waiter, a bartender. Like that's how a lot of people, mid-20s, early 20s, late 30s, that's how they make their money, like while they're doing other things. They just get a food industry job, do it for the moment, and it's like their side hustle while they focus on their main hustle. And so I was like, wow, okay, like you're telling me you love it and it pays way more than minimum wage, like a lot more than minimum wage. And so I decided to apply, and I ended up getting the job. And it's basically, it was like a freelance situation. So you determined your own hours, and I met a lot of actors and actresses that way. Like they literally would just work, make money, like pick up shifts. There was an app, you could literally put in your schedule, your calendar, and there would be like this, the system would send shifts based on the days you said that you were available to work, and you could accept or decline. So you could literally rack up 7 shifts within 10 days, depending on like the business needs and all the available shifts. And so that job plus my luxury retail job, so I was basically working like a full-time job with the 2 jobs that I had. And this was within, I want to say this was still within the first year. So I moved here July 2018. My first anniversary was July 2019. So in my first year here in New York, I had 2 different jobs. I did some other random things, like I started a TikTok account because my friend back home was like, hey, I know someone who's looking for content creators. Would you like to do this thing? So I said yes to it. So if my account had blown up, like I would have had like this contract deal, yada 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 yada, but it didn't work for me. I didn't like blow up. But they said I could do another round, and I was like, wait, my roommate has a cat. I feel like pets, like it looks like pets do well, pet accounts do well. So we did the pet account, and it's doing really well. Like I built the account from 0 to 7,000 now. So that was really fun. So I got paid for my time and for helping the cat out a little bit, but we said no to doing a contract, side note, because we were like, we'll do it ourselves. And I'm so excited to say that we're gonna do a merchandise line. My cat, my friend's the owner of the cat, my friend, that's her cat, and we are working together to do merch for the cat. So we're trying to build the brand of the cat, and I'm so excited because it literally just started out as a hobby, and now we can possibly do like a business out of it, and maybe that business will pay for my rent, both of our rents. That would be so fun. So I did different things. I did like a little bit of photography. I helped out a friend once. I was doing catering stuff. I was doing retail, and I also was applying to different jobs. And then I want to say, I'm trying to think. So that was basically the end of my first year. And then during the summer, I went back home, and then I came back. And during the start of year 2 in New York City, also during year 1, I basically I got my own space, I got my own room. I wasn't just sleeping in like our little extra room that we have, our little office space. I finally moved into my own room, and you know, I was like, wow, I'm really an adult now. Like, I'm contributing to the rent, I'm paying, I'm doing as much as possible, yada yada yada. And that has been an experience because I've never lived in an apartment with other people. And you know, it's an experience. It's a great way to save money in New York, is living with roommates. But that's real. I honestly can't wait for the day that I'm able to afford my own place. Like all these rich YouTubers, they buy their homes, but not even like that. It's just, I love the idea of being able to own your own place with multiple bedrooms, bathrooms, and having your own parties where you invite friends. Like, that just sounds so fun to me. And then year 2 happened. Last summer was very fun. I was working though. I was still working part-time. Had a few shifts with catering. Tried to work at the US Open, didn't get it. Met a lot of I met my friends from both of my different jobs. And then I basically decided that I was gonna quit my retail job. I didn't know when, but I was like, I'm quitting because it's coming up to a year now, and I'm not really happy. I'm not really happy. I can go into a video of like my experience working in luxury retail and what that was like and how that helped me grow and all like the issues I encountered, and I felt like there was no one was listening. No one at the top was listening to what I really was trying to say in order to help. Because I'm that type of person, like as an employee, if I work for your company, I'm dedicated to the team, I'm dedicated to the mission. Like, I want to see us succeed, and I want to improve our business practices. I want to improve the experience, not only for the customer and the client, but for the employee. Like, basically, I love culture. I think culture is very important. I think building a space and a place where people feel like they can thrive and can contribute and have a higher quality life is so important. Because I know how corporate America treats its employees. I haven't done corporate, but I'm like, look, there's a budget. There's a good budget, to retain great, hardworking employees. But when it comes to like the brick and mortar side of it or retail side of it, it seems like there's a big disconnect in how to treat your employees so that there's not a high turnover rate, yada, yada, yada. So the focus for year 2 was still to land a big job, get into the tech world, maybe even corporate, but like really get out of retail, because you can get stuck there if you don't like it. And I didn't want to get stuck there. I knew I didn't want to run the company or anything. I just was literally using that experience as like a internship. Like, I just wanted to get as much as possible and grow, and then just move on, move up, move forward. And I definitely made a lot of connections, still keep in touch with them today. But I eventually quit in October 2019, and that was the best day of 2019 for me. The best day was quitting the retail job. I quit right before noon. I told the manager I had to speak with her, and she was like, "Oh no, why?" And I'm like, I'm just done. I'm done. And then I spoke to HR, and that was it. Just to keep it short and brief, that was it. I didn't even last till lunch. I walked out and I never came back, really. And it didn't return for a while, so that was awesome. And then, so I didn't worry about quitting because I still had the catering job, because the catering job was still keeping me afloat, and we were going to be picking up anyways right before the holidays. So I quit. And the retail job I was at, like, they don't let you take breaks in December. And I knew I was traveling. I was like, look, I have travel plans that I cannot get out of. Like, they're literally mandatory. I gotta go. And so I already knew I was gonna quit right before December. but I quit in October, like a month before like my plan. I quit, and it was just like alleviating, like the pressure alleviated, the worries alleviated, the anxiety alleviated. Like, I'm such a big fan of quitting jobs like you do not like, the jobs you hate, because there is something better on the other side, and you don't have to suffer anymore. You don't have to suffer. So year two was big transitions too, because I quit, and I was still looking for opportunities. I traveled, reunited with family, and then I believe in December I applied to a startup that helps people in the city find trusted, units that they can live in. Like, really cool. It's really cool. And that's why I show apartments. You see it. And so I got a response in December, and then January I had the phone call, and then I officially was hired in February, and I started in February. But it was my first experience like filling out like a freelance document. So basically the work that you put in, you get money based on the work you put in, and if you actually get clients. So it was all about building your own schedule, making your own phone calls, vetting the leads, and making sure that they are actually serious. I learned so much about what it takes to actually rent an apartment in New York City. Like, you need good credit, 680. These are the things you need to be approved by management. A 680 credit score, 680 plus credit score. If you don't have that, you need a guarantor, someone who can vouch for you, most likely a parent, an aunt or uncle, and they need to make 80 times the rent. So normally if it's you need to make 40 times the rent. So if the rent is $100 a month, you need to be making at least $40,000. Does that make sense? And then, but if you don't, you need to find someone who can vouch for you, or get a service. Like, there's like services that will help you out with that. And if you find someone, they need to make 80 times the rent. So they need to make 80,000 if the rent is $100. And you also need 3 times savings. You need 3 times the rent in a savings account. You need bank statements that show that you were good with money, like it's not constantly in the red. So 3 times the rent in a savings account, a 680 plus credit score. You need to be able to sign a 12-month lease. So in the state of New York, if you sign a lease, you all are responsible for making sure that rent gets paid. So if the rent total is $3,000 a month split by 3 roommates, you all are responsible for making sure that the $3,000 get paid. I believe that it doesn't really matter how you split up the rent. Like, you can decide between your roommates how the rent gets split up, as long as the rent is paid. But some landlords might say, no, specifically this room is $400, this room is $500, this room is $600. But honestly, if you and your roommates come to an agreement, like, hey, like, the rooms are even sizes, why am I paying $200 extra more? Like, you all could just split the rent and just make sure it gets paid, and that will make it easier on everybody. Do you know what I'm trying to say? 3 times the savings account, $680. And yeah, 40 times the rent. So that's basically it. So a 680's credit score is really great. Having an income where you make 40 times the rent is great. And having a savings account where you have 3 times the rent saved, just hard, cold cash saved, put away, that can help you, and shows that you have at least 3 months ready. That's great. Now, if you're unable to sign a 12-month lease, there are other options like subletting. You can go online, you can go to Craigslist, you can reach out to people who literally need someone to take over their room just for a little bit, and you can do that for 3 months, and then you can move out. That's great. Like, you never have to sign a lease, which is great, and you shouldn't really have a lot of things, because it just makes it easier to like leave and go, settle in, leave and go, settle in. And renting is a great option because I was watching someone on TikTok, I think his name is I Am Cash Jordan. Like, renting makes sense for people in New York because, yeah, the prices are outrageous, but you're literally paying for the opportunity to be here and you don't know who you're gonna meet. And also, like, some people are only here for less than 3 years. Like, there's no reason to start buying a house when you might be leaving. If you're only here for your job and you might be leaving in 3 years to go somewhere else, you know, you just have to weigh the pros and cons with that. But year 2, I left one job. I stayed with one job and then I got a new job. And this honestly worked out so perfectly for me, but the startup job that I worked with literally allowed me to kind of get that credibility of working with startups. Like, that's why I got that job. I was like, I need a little taste of working with that startup culture life. And I believe I got the job online on one of the job boards for tech jobs. There's a few of them out there, but I got that job and it helped me while I was still applying for other opportunities in tech. Because I'm someone who's like, look, I appreciate where I'm at now, but I'm always looking for something better. But I do appreciate the present. I haven't lost sight of my goal. We gotta be realistic, right? Like, not realistic, but like, we gotta stay focused on what is our goal. Like, what do we really want? Okay, so let's say you wanna open your own business, but you don't have the experience to open your own business. It'd be good to take a class on finances. It'd be good to assist someone, volunteer with a nonprofit who helps businesses, or, you know, anyone who's interested, right? Like, women-led businesses. Like, if you're a woman, like, maybe you should go support a nonprofit that helps specifically women-led businesses, so you can learn what does it take, like, what's necessary, what's the paperwork. So you have to put yourself in different environments and spaces that give you a complete picture. So when I worked at the luxury retail job, that helped me with like dressing the part, acting the part, kind of owning it, like owning my power and learning how to communicate and be sophisticated. That was great because where I was coming from, I always talk about it. I'm like, when I got hired, I acted like I was working at Chuck E. Cheese, but it wasn't Chuck E. Cheese. It was a high-level luxury retail experience, and I had to kind of learn really fast. The learning curve was steep, and I struggled in the beginning a lot. But once I was good, I was really good. And then the catering allowed me to talk to anyone. Like, it didn't matter where the person was from, their lifestyle, their bank account. Like, I literally was giving everyone the same item, but I was taking requests. I was learning, like, you know, how to converse and speak and do all of that. So that helped too. I used to joke, I was like, wow, I'm dressing them and I'm feeding them. Like, that's so funny. And then the startup job really allowed me to kind of take control of like how I wanted to work and move and do things and how I wanted to set up my day. Because I think that's the thrill or appeal of YouTube. Like, you get to set your own schedule, you get to work your own hours. Like, why would anyone work a 9 to 5 they hate when they could literally turn on a camera and just make money? Like, the opportunities are so rich right now. Like, it just doesn't make sense to do something you hate when you can do something you like and maybe even love and make money from that, right? And so the pandemic happened. And so the catering was kind of like at a standstill. There was no jobs. And the market hit real estate bad too. So all like events, if you're in events, you're kind of out, you're on the sidelines. If you're in real estate, you're done. Like, it was just like a lot. And then I recently applied for another job, and I know how many people are losing their jobs. People are losing their jobs, and to be able to say that I got a job during a pandemic is wild. Like, it's just like, whoa to me. It's possible, it's possible. It's not gonna be easy though. And so I'm so excited because now that I have this new job, and this job, like, this tech company is worth a lot of money. It's evaluated like in the billions. So the fact that I'm working with them and I got in basically through a temporary opportunity is still amazing. Because I know in 3 months it'll be over, but hopefully I'll have something else lined up. And that's about it. Like, so the end of year 2 was just like trying to survive, continue to survive this pandemic, and also applying to jobs. I was in the middle of interviews, and now starting year 3, I have a new job locked in, and I still have 2 other jobs, but I have this temporary job. The other 2, I don't really have to work unless I want to work, but now this one I'll be working, and there will be consistent hours. I'll be getting paid consistently, so that's great. I'm doing YouTube. I'm still trying to live my life, still trying to be helpful and of service where I can, still trying to, you know, make sense of this world that we live in with it seems like so much bad news every single day, but trying to learn not to let it, you know, keep me down, trying to learn to be thankful and just connect, and, you know, how can I share my joy? How can I share my positivity? You know, during the pandemic, my passion projects were learning how to take care of my hair, learning how to cook, learning how to do YouTube, learning how to build Santos the Cat, the brand account on TikTok. Just learning to figure out what really matters. And that's when I discovered Kelly Stamps. I believe I discovered Kelly in January, but like, I really loved seeing her like throughout the pandemic. And I was like, wow, Kelly reminds me of myself so much. Like, she just has it. And when you see her, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you listen to her, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And she just really, she's incredible. She's literally incredible. I know she has that monotone voice, but I'm like, that's what makes her stand out though to me. I just really love watching Kelly Stamps. I think she's so intelligent, and she understands it. She gets it. Like, a lot of people, it goes over their heads, like they don't get it, but I do, and other subscribers that love her do. And now she's back in New York City too, and we'll see what happens. I've found a couple of cool people through her, so I'm thankful. I also love watching YouTubers in New York. I don't know what it is. I do think it's our experiences, it's our personality. People really, they see themselves in us, so maybe we're like mirrors. I don't know. They think we're friendly and likable. It's like, how much is too much? Like, how close can I really get with you all, but still keep my privacy and my boundaries? Because if I were to see y'all on the street, of course I would say hi, but it's like, everybody's watching. Let's say everyone is watching this. Like, that's kind of like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Like, I cannot imagine having like half a million followers or subscribers on YouTube. You know what I mean? I can imagine making $500,000 though, but I can't imagine like so many people subscribed to my life and just interested in what I'm doing in my day-to-day. But I mean, I think it's all about, what are you doing this for, right? Of course, the monetization is nice. Like, anyone would like to get paid based on what they do. But I think it's like, look, I feel like I have a story to share. I'm going to share it. I feel like I have a very special experience. Like, I'm not that young anymore, but I don't feel old at all. I think I'm just getting started. And I think that I should have done this a lot earlier. I don't really know what's going on, but I'm here now. I think that's like the motto. I'm here now, so let's make it happen. Let's do something. I feel like that was like a really long-winded account on everything, but that's the story. So this is year 3. I have a new job. I'm feeling a lot better about life and myself, my confidence, you know. I'm just trying to see how far I can go. That's it. That's really it. I started running, and then, like I said earlier, runner's knee, so I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break right now because it hurts. Is there anything I like doing right now besides eating? Photography and videos. I need to finish that book my friend gave me. It's let me go get it so so y'all can see it. It's about 4 siblings and their lives throughout the decades. It's pretty cool. Am I really right here? Oh yeah, I'm on page 78. Yeah, it's a good book. I need to read more. My friend's like, she loves letting me know that she's on her 50th book, and I'm like, oh, I'm still on the one you gave me. But we'll see. I'm just trying to take it one day at a time and have fun, live life, enjoy where I am, because these days are not promised, you know, but there's something to celebrate in each day, definitely. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. This was definitely just a talk. I don't know what I'll do next. Maybe a vlog. I have some vlogs I need to edit. I went to Philadelphia. I went to Governor's Island. But yeah, this was just a sit-down talk. Okay, y'all. Take care. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll get back to you. Also, make sure you subscribe, because why not? Why not? Okay. Bye.